should be. What I heard. There's a move.
You there? I'm not used to sitting on your right side.
Where I sit in?
Right there.
You sit there. Okay. By that name up there.
All ready? All right, we'll call the meeting to order, the Board of Adjustment meeting, March 21st, 2023. I'd like to welcome everyone to the meeting. Not a lot of folks here today, but we'll get started moving on with it. So I think everyone's got the agenda in front of them. Get a motion to go approve the agenda.
I'm making a motion.
And a second? Mr. Reynolds and Mr. Killian. All in favor? Aye. So we got one agenda item tonight, but first of all, we need to approve the meeting minutes from July 19th. So quite a bit of time since we met. Any issues or any concerns with the meeting minutes? Get a motion to approve? Mr. Reynolds?
Second.
Mr. Phillips seconding. All in favor? Aye. Approval of the minutes. And new business, I will turn that over to Stephen. We have a 2704 Miguel Court variance request.
And I will say, we have received a letter from Brian Miller asking for an excused absence today. He had work obligations that he had to attend. Do we need a vote on that, Keen?
I don't think so. I think
Okay.
you just keep it for the records.
Okay, perfect. Okay, good evening, Board. Stephen Penn. Brian upgraded with us, went to the city of Greenville, wish him the best. We'll definitely miss him, and I'm going to try my best to kind of fill in some of his steps, but as we go along, if anybody has any comments or concerns or things that they would like for me to do differently, just certainly let me know, and I'd be happy to address them. Yeah, absolutely. I think you might want to turn your mic on. You said no, you don't want to.
Leave it off. Okay.
So again, Board of Adjustment meeting, March 21st, 2023. We are talking about 2704 Miguel Court, parcel number 87092. This is a variance. The applicant is Byron Scott Gibson on behalf of Adams Home, AEC LLC. Location is 2704 Miguel Court. This is southwest corner of Bridia Lane and Miguel Court. It's 0.38 acres in a R10 zone. Just to give you a little bit of, I don't know if you can actually see this up here. So we are just north of Pocosin Road. We are east of Frog Level Road. This is in the Villa Grande neighborhood off of Red Forbes Road. And this parcel is in the back section of the newest section of the neighborhood. R10's dimensional requirements are 10,000 square foot lots with a lot width of 70 foot, front yard setback of 25 foot, rear yard setback of 20 foot, a side yard setback of 8 foot. However, since this is a corner lot, the side that would be adjacent to the street adds another 10 foot from the setback. So this one would be 18 foot. And then this is just a little bit of language that the ordinance says to define what the front yard is. In this case, essentially the front yard is the smallest dimension. You see on this plot plan, the smallest dimension would be considered the front yard here. The applicant originally submitted a plot plan showing a 27.39 setback. Once the house was built, they determined that the setback was actually 23.14. This was made aware by the applicant. The applicant came to the town of Winterville to let the town know that a mistake was made in the field encroaching into the front yard setback. Again,
Stephen, just a quick question.
yes, sir.
Just
the 23.14 on the final survey, that again is the front setback.
That is the front setback. Again, the initial plot plan that was approved by the town was 27.39. The requirements are 25. After construction, they realized that there was an error, and the house encroaches by 1.86 foot on the corner, on the front yard setback. Again, just looking at the R10 district, this is the table of yard requirements, and what we're really looking at here is the 25-foot front yard setback. Staff is recommending that you consider the variance up against the ordinance and the requirements of approving a variance. Board of Adjustments hearing signs were placed on the property as state statute requires on March 2nd, 2023. Two legal ads were placed in the Daily Reflector March 8th, March 15th of this year. Adjacent property owners and those within 100 foot of the property were also notified on March 8th. Yes, sir.
One question.
Yes, sir.
You said two new ads supposed to be reflected. Who do people think the Daily Reflector?
I don't know, but it's still state statute. It's still state requirement. There may be in the future some changes of that, but at this point, the state still requires any public hearing to have two ads placed, and it's actually, it goes a little bit beyond that as to when, how far ahead, and how far,
They only have what, two Daily Reflector?
It's a 5. Maybe 4 or 5. But it also runs in the online version also.
Yeah,
I understand that, but just wanted to make sure that everyone was aware.
and just so you, not to go down this too far, but just so you're comfortable, that Stephen is exactly right. The general statute's very clear that you have to run it twice in a newspaper of general circulation and the Daily Reflector. Means that some attorneys will actually run it, what used to be the Times Leader in Ayden, now it's the Standard. They'll run it over there because it's cheaper. We don't do that because we think the larger newspaper general circulation is the Daily Reflector. But it does meet the statute requirements. I do think also Stephen's correct, and the law is always running behind everybody, but eventually they're going to let us do this kind of thing online. It'll hit more people, and it'll also be a heck of a lot cheaper. It's expensive to run those ads twice in a newspaper, but as of right now, we're still good to go with it.
It is, but that's a great question, because it is kind of funny in 2023 that we still, do that. And at this point, we do have the applicant here, and we may open up the public comments as well.
Okay, can we
If I would just suggest is that since Stephen's done a good job giving the background, if there's any questions of the board of Stephen, and then if not, what we'll do is swear in anybody that wants to be a witness and open the public hearing.
And for the record, we got 1 for here. Do we have any against, or did anybody respond to the ads or anything?
We did not receive any comments on this from anybody. And again, if anybody has any questions, I'd be happy to answer them too. Thank you.
All right. So we'll get a motion to open the public hearing. Reynolds? Second. Phillips, second. We'll open up the public hearing, but we need to get anyone sworn in.
Yes, are you going to speak, sir? Oh, okay, he needs to be sworn in. If you want to,
There, I'll let you. Okay, so this is a public hearing for the 2704 Miguel Court variance request.
and even though we've only got one person present, I guess you're asking for anybody who will speak in favor? Or?
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just so
So anyone that's in favor, definitely we've got someone. Anyone that would like to speak against,
come
let the record show no one is here against. All right.
All right, thank you. Good evening, and thank you for allowing me to come up here and speak on behalf of Adams Homes. I am the general manager of this division for Adams Homes.
Could you get, we get your name, maybe said it?
Yes, Byron Scott Gibson.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Gibson.
Yes, sir. I just wanted to, first of all, apologize that this even did happen. It is unfortunate. It was some errors made by more than what is on the application. I mean, me as the general manager, I definitely should have caught this, and I have a few people underneath me that should have caught it as well. We've had meetings and conversations to make sure things are put in place so this does not happen again. The surveyor will come out and perform a box check on it to make sure we are not over. But another reason why is that our the architect, we're also building in a community down in New Bern where we are doing garage extensions in that community, and there was a mix-up and it happened here, and it did not get caught until later, and unfortunately we did not look into the setback. So it was an error on our fault. It was not anything done maliciously or trying to, get over on or anything like that. It was an error. We do admit it, and we do apologize for that. And we have put things in place to make sure that it does not happen again. I did reach out to the homeowner to the left of the residence to see what if they had any issues with it. Could not get a response from them. I did reach out to the homeowners to the right, kind of more behind them. I got a verbal response, but could not get anything in time in writing from them as well. And then the next closest resident would be me, and I don't have an issue with it, being that I live 2 houses down from this resident. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much all I have, just asking for forgiveness and see if we can get the variance so we can move forward. The home is complete. We did have a buyer that we were able to keep them on and relocate them, but we do have more interest in this home that we would like to move forward, get the certificate of occupancy, and be able to bring another happy homeowner into the town of Winterville without having to kind of...
Are you the owner, contractor?
I'm the general manager of this division. For Adams Homes, yep.
This first instance you had the
Yes. Yep. Yes, sir.
Any other questions by the board? Okay. So thank you, Mr. Gibson. Was there another question? Go ahead. Sorry.
Where is this property actually located at?
In Phase 2 of Villa Grande, the address is 2704 Miguel
Yeah, I believe
Court.
it's in the packet, isn't it? Or not? No, that's only the setback. Stephen, to answer his question, can you back up just a little bit?
Sorry about that. Are you familiar with the Denali subdivision off of Red Forbes Road by chance? Let's see. Do you know where it's a funny intersection where Pocosin, Red Forbes, and 903 comes in?
Olson?
You go out
Pocosin.
903.
Go out
Go
903.
903 towards Snow Hill or Maury.
Okay, I know where
To the right,
903
you're gonna keep.
Okay.
There's a large subdivision that was probably
Okay, I know where the subdivision is.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
I just pictured, I know where it's at.
Okay, gotcha.
I got it.
Yes, sir.
I got the subdivision, okay.
All right. Any other questions for Mr. Gibson or Stephen? All right, thank you, Mr. Gibson. Oh,
All right.
sorry, go ahead, one more question.
On this setback, is that just the garage only?
Yes, just the garage only.
How long is that garage?
Let's see, oh Lord,
18 foot?
I believe so, but I'm not 100% sure. I did not, off the top of my head, I cannot remember, I'm sorry. It's about a 2-foot extension is what was added to our standard, which is about 16 foot. It's somewhere around there, give or take.
Is that garage in the house?
Yes, sir.
Separate?
No, sir.
You can kind of see it on the 2 pages here, how it kind of juts out. They got lines marked.
Look at the garage.
It looks like the house, the width of the house is about 50.8 feet, and so the garage is not quite half of that.
The only part over the setbacks
That's my understanding. Is that true, Stephen? It's only the garage that extends into the front setback?
That's correct. The plot plan, the revised plot plan, the final survey showed that the garage was what extended over the setback. So if you look at this one, and again, it's probably a lot easier on your paper, the actual approved plot plan, it shows the house kind of even with the garage, and the final survey shows that the garage extends just slightly over that line.
Any other questions? All right. Thank you, Mr. Gibson.
Thank you for your time, appreciate it.
Get a motion to close the public hearing. Mr. Reynolds first, Mr. Phillips second. All in favor of closing the hearing? Aye, 100%. Okay. All right. So now comes the fun part.
If there's no further questions of the board of Stephen, which, then you're absolutely right. We go to, and you've got the order in front of you.
I believe so.
That might be where you want to go to. You've got your 5 findings of fact that we would share. You want my copy, Mr. Chair? Okay, you got it.
I had it, not sure what happened to it. I'm
So
going to
you-
put it in my book. Okay, I've got one. I got a copy here. So. No, it's got to be it right here. All right. So we've got to read through all of the findings of fact, and we'll have to vote on each one of them. There's 5 of those, and then we'll have to come back around and vote on the entire application. All right?
Yes, sir.
Okay? All right, so we'll get through and read this. I think I've got the right one. That is the right one, right? All right, having heard all the evidence and arguments presented at the public hearing, the Board of Adjustment makes the following findings of fact. So we're going to need an approval on each one of the first 5. So conditions and specifications, that the application filed as variance application for the properties listed above meets all the required conditions and specifications of the zoning ordinance and policies of the town for submission of a variance application. Can you get a motion to vote? Mr. Reynolds, Ms. Killian, second, right?
And that's a motion to approve that finding.
Right.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
All in favor? Aye. 100% approval. Notice that those persons owning property adjacent to the proposed development or use as listed on the current tax records were served notice of the public hearing by mail in accordance with the applicable requirements, and that notice of public hearing to consider the variance was published on March 8th, 2023 and March 15th, 2023 in the Daily Reflector, a newspaper having a general circulation in the area and required by law. A motion to approve? Reynolds, Mr. Phillips, seconded. All in favor? Aye. All right. Number 3, there are practical difficulties or unnecessary hardships in the way of carrying out the strict letter of the ordinance. Do we need to do each one of these, or can I just read through those and do the whole thing?
Well, I mean, you're finding at least one, but you could, it's just one sentence, if you don't mind reading through it for the record.
Okay, that's fine. Just want to make sure. If he complies with the provisions of the ordinance and the property owner can secure no reasonable return from or make no reasonable use of his property. The hardship results from the application of the ordinance. The hardship is suffered by the applicant's property. The hardship is not a result of the applicant's own actions. And finally, E, the hardship is peculiar to the applicant's property. The motion, Mr. Reynolds, second, Mr. Killian, all in favor?
That's the
Aye.
motion for approval.
Motion for approval.
Okay, thank you.
I think that's 100%, right, Mr. Phillips? Okay, we're good. All right, number 4, the variance is in harmony with the general purpose and intent of the ordinance and preserves its spirit. Motion? Mr. Killian first, Mr. Phillips second, all in favor to approve? Aye. Finally, in granting the variance, the public safety and welfare have been assured and substantial justice has been done. Motion? Killian, seconded Mr. Phillips, all in favor? Aye, approved. So the findings of fact, all were approved, 1 through 5. We do need to get a motion to approve the overall application. Mr. Reynolds first, Mr. Phillips seconded. All in favor of approval of the application? Aye, 100%. All right. All right, now therefore, based on the facts found above in consideration, we need to go through that, right? Do I need to read through that, Stephen? Are you good? So this would be approved. All right. Thank you, Mr. Gibson.
Thank you.
Thank you. We do have one more agenda item that I think Stephen talked to everyone about that we need to run through if we got a second. I don't know, Stephen, if you want to go through that.
Yeah, absolutely. So, the town of, the town council has changed their meeting time from 7 PM to 6 PM. Not that we have to change our time, but I just wanted to bring it to the board for consideration if that was something that may be something worth considering to you. If you like 7 PM, I'm perfectly fine with it if you would like a different time or propose it.
Okay, anyone else?
I like it at 7 because I work, and I don't get off work for 5:45.
Gotcha. Okay, Mr.
gotta
Killian,
go
you
home.
have a choice either way? Did not have a choice, so we got 2s. I would prefer to leave it at 7 just for personal because coming from Kinston, it's a little difficult.
And I think probably the most important aspect is that
We get
everybody can
here.
attend,
Yeah.
right?
Do
So,
we need a motion to approve or disapprove?
if nothing's changing, then I don't think we.
Okay.
Well, we had a motion. Did you make a motion, or did you just say? Well, we've got a motion. If it fails for a second, or if he withdraws his motion, then we don't have to go.
I withdraw my motion.
Okay, motion withdrawn.
Take him away from the word.
Oh, I wish I could, trust me.
Other than that, the town is growing pretty quickly still. We have a lot of good projects coming on board. One of them that you may or may not have heard about yet is Lowe's Foods that will be building a grocery store behind the Chick-fil-A area on Beacon Drive. So that's pretty exciting. That's something that we've been working on for years. It's going to have 17 attached units with it. But those are going to be 1,200 square foot apiece, so some businesses are going to need more space than that. So it'll almost certainly not be 17 additional businesses included with the Lowe's Foods Shopping Center.
What's the time frame on that development?
So we should probably see dirt turning this upcoming month, and they're expecting a year build out. So, but yeah, it's really exciting. It's actually the second grocery store in our jurisdiction, and it's something that we've been pushing for a long time, and it took the right developer and user, and it's going to be something that's really nice for the town. I'm excited about it.
So I had a question on the expansion on, I guess it's out by Food Line. Isn't that the road expanding out there on Tar Road? Is that
Yes.
affecting anything going on from our standpoint?
From the Board of Adjustment
Well,
standpoint?
not Board of Justice, just Winterville in general. Just what the
Yeah,
effect is.
and they're still in the acquisition part of it, so still kind of negotiating with some of the property owners there.
Yeah, because I heard some of the businesses there in that strip mall might be affected as well, right?
That's my understanding too, and that's actually,
Well, further down, actually, where
Out-
Cuccinella's
Fire tower.
and Joe's and places like
Oh,
that.
yeah, right.
that's what I've heard through the grapevine too, that those will be significantly affected.
And are they in Winterville or Greenville's?
It's actually in Greenville's
Oh, okay,
jurisdiction.
okay.
The other side of the road, all the way to the intersection, is
Yeah.
Winterville. But the right side of the road, Winterville stops at Cedar Ridge subdivision at the creek.
Gotcha, okay.
I-
I knew there was something, but I didn't know what the details of that
I
were.
mean, what I've heard, and I mean, like you guys, we all hear stuff, but I've heard that strip center and where the car lot is there
Yeah.
has been, I've heard that they're all gonna go away.
Yeah,
I've heard the same.
See where the jobs are. I hate to see it, but the burn, how you have over, supposed to be,
Irish Creek, you talking about that berm?
no, the Saffron.
Oh, okay, yes, sir.
That burn on the other side.
Right.
They got the houses with real long front yards. Of course, they got two big walls.
And that project is, I think we're going to start seeing some actual movement on it around 2025. But once it gets here, we're going to know it. It's going to be a significant,
Tell me they're gonna build a bridge over Park Road.
so one other question, Stephen, on the new development, this over here by Highway 11, is that going to be individual, I don't think it's owners, it's rental, right? So rental property manages that? I mean,
so
can
are
ask
we
that?
talking about 11 at Main, the townhomes?
yeah.
So the way I understand it at this point is that it will be managed by the company who is building, well, by a company that they are hiring to manage it. So Cavness and Cates is building the units. Eventually, I believe it's Hawthorne Properties will be managing it and renting them out.
I have a question, not concerning things.
Yeah, absolutely.
Meetings at, town council,
Sure.
property they were talking about. And that was in the county, so the fire department would be volunteer fire department, they would be the property. Do we actually, I mean, other than just, it's not even in Winterville?
So it would be within Winterville's, what we call ETJ extraterritorial jurisdiction, which gives the planning authority over that area. So if they ever annexed into a city, it would be within the town of Winterville. So theoretically, what it means is they have to follow the zoning ordinance and subdivision regulation.
In writing, on that the fire department would be the volunteers, not the Winterville Fire Department.
And that is true until it would be actually annexed into the town of Winterville. So anything that, and a lot of times you'll see it with undeveloped property or property that was developed quite some time ago that never tapped onto sewer, never annexed within the town of Winterville. So it would be the volunteer fire department, but once it's annexed and corporate limits, then our city fire department would then address all the calls. Does that answer your question? Okay.
And I would, honestly, I don't have any inside information, but if that area were developed, whether it's, obviously that failed the other night, but if something new comes up, and they want to tie on to town sewer, which they probably would, that's when we're going to require them to be annexed.
That's correct.
So they're not annexed now. I mean, I don't think that property, but it would be annexed upon connecting to town sewer. Yes, sir.
Yeah, like Keen was saying, the tapping onto town sewer would trigger the annexation in that situation. So once it is developed, if it is developed, then
But I would like to see, when we get the projects that come up, like this, we're talking about children playing, we're gonna play in the streets, we've got to start putting some sidewalks in. Everybody talks about you can walk to downtown, you gotta feel what we know the street.
Yeah, and some of the older developed areas of town don't have sidewalks just because at the time it wasn't really the kind of design and the big elements. Nowadays, the good thing is the subdivision ordinance really addresses all of that. So once something like that is developed in today's time, it has to have sidewalks. For instance, even, does your neighborhood have sidewalks?
So we had, the streets are real wide.
Right. So nowadays, if it was developed today, then sidewalks would have been required. So it was roughly around year 2000, all that switched for the town of Winterville. And so nowadays, if pretty much any subdivision, residential subdivision would require.
I like to see put a sidewalk down Mill Street.
Oh, I would
Put
too.
a pedestrian crossing, get across there.
I would too.
Cars don't
Absolutely.
know which way to go half the time.
I know.
Anything else we got?
I think that's pretty much it. If anybody has any questions, I'd be happy to address them. Again, I appreciate, everybody being here, and if anybody wants me to make any changes in the future, just let me know. I'm flexible, and I know I'm new at this role, and just trying to make it as easy as a transition as possible too, so.
Do you have anything coming up for next month yet, or is it too
I do
early?
not have anything that's submitted for next month. I also haven't really heard anybody that has any plans to submit anything. Now, that doesn't mean obviously somebody won't, but I do not know of anything.
Can we get the road from Beacon down in on the fire tower? Right there by the, school place? Well, we're making, so,
That would be convenient, wouldn't it?
it would be too convenient.
I don't know. We'll talk about that though.
You know where the stoplight is on Fire Tower, that you got, pizza place on the, Pizza Hut,
Right.
it's straight through to Beacon. Well, that would be perfect.
Oh, okay. You're saying where it's kind of a path that people will drive every now and then. Is I know exactly what you're talking about. It's a little, I know exactly, between the field. Is that correct? Yeah.
I can't get on Fire Tower Road and go out, anytime after 4 o'clock,
Mm.
and make a left. So I've started going around that way, but I had to go all the way around, Sam Jones, get out on the Fire Tower Road.
Right.
But we need a stoplight. We need to, get the state to put those stoplights, like they did South Hall. Like, down on Vernon White Road, that would be a thing.
Yeah, I can certainly pass it along to DOT and Gene Pittman and their crew if that's something you desire, absolutely.
I do. I tried to get a stoplight years ago, but the only thing I could get was the, street light.
Mm.
He put a street light up, you can find the road. I did.
Not the kind of light you were looking for.
Yeah, they're funny about improvements and stoplights. They're tough.
I mean, with South Hall, did they pay for it?
I do not know the details of that stoplight. I don't know if the developer paid for it or DOT
You gotta
or.
be careful, they might put up a 4-way stop instead.
Oh,
We're going roundabout all the way.
round.
Yeah, roundabouts.
All right. Anything else? In addition to DOA? All right, get a motion to adjourn? Mr. Reynolds, Phillips second, all in favor? Aye. Thank you. I'm out.
Me too.
Thanks, Donzo.
That didn't take long to make.
See you, Mr. Reynolds.
All right, take care.
Yeah. I'll see you later.
Coming out.
All right, man.
Each of you.
No,